Did you actually know that there are 10 different places to have music throughout the whole of your wedding day? I come across so many couples that just think DJ, band, which shall I choose for the evening reception? But there are so many more places to actually add music during your wedding day that can so easily be forgotten. But we're going to make sure that you don't forget them because we are doing this video today. Hello lovely couples and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lauren, wedding planner and owner of Bluebird Creative. I provide a weekly dose of wedding planning goodness for the modern couple. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell because then you'll be notified every week when a new video lands. So this week we are going through the 10 different places to add music throughout your wedding day. I am so into music, I cannot tell you. I met my husband through music. Our wedding day had music everywhere. It is a big part of who we are as people and also as a couple. My husband is a sound engineer and a podcast producer, and so audio and sound is really important to him. We're both massively into bands, and so I feel like I need to pass on that love and that passion to you guys. And too many people forget about all the different places that you can have music during your wedding day, and they only remember the evening reception and they have the discussion of, do we go band or do we go DJ? But what about the rest of the day, guys? Let's jump on into this week's video and let me tell you the 10 places where you can add music in your wedding. Let's go. So we are obviously going to start at your wedding ceremony, and there are several different points to add music throughout your ceremony. Now obviously this will depend on the type of ceremony that you're having. So I am going to base this off a civil ceremony, and I may give a few examples of perhaps a Christian wedding in a church, or if you're having a humanist ceremony with a celebrant, you can do what you want. You can do absolutely what you want because you get to choose a bespoke ceremony, but basing this particular piece of advice for the ceremony music off a civil ceremony. So first place to start is guest arrival music. It's a very good idea to either have a playlist for when your guests are arriving and taking their seats, or to have a live musician that is playing whilst your guests are arriving. That live musician is then probably going to play throughout the ceremony as well. So make your decision there. Do you want to have live music for your wedding ceremony, or are you happy with a playlist of different songs? I would suggest having about a 1 hour playlist. You will probably only need 30 minutes to 45 minutes, but have an hour's playlist just in case. You can create that so it's completely bespoke to you, the type of ceremony that you're having, the type of people that you are, the vibe that you want to put out. Music creates mood, it creates atmosphere, and it creates a vibe. So pick wisely, choose something that is totally you. The next point in your civil ceremony where you can have music is obviously when the bridesmaids walk down the aisle and when the bride walks down the aisle. You need to decide, first of all, are your bridesmaids going first or are you going first? And that may then depend as to whether you have one piece of music or two. If your bridesmaids are going first, you may want a piece of music just for them, and then a new track starts when you, the bride, walk down the aisle. If you are going first, then you are likely to just have one track and your bridesmaids will follow you down. Or perhaps you have one track, your bridesmaids go first, and then as the music builds, you go. It's totally up to you, but you're going to want at least one piece of music for you all walking down the aisle. The next place in your ceremony to add music is during the registry signing. I suggest about 3 songs just to have a little playlist ready. Somebody can press the music for you, or again, if you've got a live musician, then they can just start playing at that point and stop when that part of the ceremony has been completed. But having about 3 songs usually works pretty nicely. Or perhaps you're having a live choir, or perhaps you're having some hymns. Different options, but that is a point in your wedding ceremony where there will be music. Now, if you are having a religious ceremony, there might be points where you want to do singing. You might have a choir, or your guests might be singing some songs as well. So you can talk to the person leading your ceremony and decide at what points in the ceremony that's happening and what songs you can choose and that you'd like to choose. The next point in your ceremony is actually when you're walking back down the aisle. Now, you can choose anything you want. If you are having a civil ceremony, just remember that all the music throughout the ceremony must not have any religious connotation. If you are having a religious ceremony, then that's fine. And again, if you're having a celebrant-led ceremony, You do you, my friends, because it is your day. Do love a celebrant-led wedding at the minute because the options are endless, and I will do a video on that at some point. It's on my list. But yes, a piece of music for you both to walk down the aisle to as husband and wife, and then some music to carry on from that whilst your guests get up and leave the ceremony area. And that, my friends, is the different points in your wedding ceremony where you would have music. So that is actually 6 places. 6 different points where you're going to have music during your wedding day. So let's now go and find out where those other 4 places are. So the next point on your wedding day is actually your drinks reception. And I oddly find that a lot of people completely forget about this and they go, oh yes, music during the drinks reception. And I'm like, oh yes. So guys, don't forget the drinks reception. Now, if you're having a drinks reception outside, you can have live music. You can also have a playlist playing in the background if you want to. Just make sure that there is a PA system and that there are outdoor speakers and that you have power and so on. And again, if you're having a live musician, have they got a PA system that they can bring with them and the kit? Does the venue provide it? Is there power? And so on. It's usually really simple. The venue will deal with it all the time, so don't stress. But don't forget to have music at this point in the day. It will not have the same vibe, the same mood and the same atmosphere if there is no music playing, okay? It really will just lack that atmosphere. I'm going to keep using that word because it really does create it. So drinks reception, loads of options. You can have an acoustic duo, you can have a jazz trio, you can play a playlist on Spotify, you can have a wandering band. They're really cool. They wander through your guests. You can have a saxophonist. So you can go for the Ibiza kind of like sets, or a saxophonist with an electric violinist. Really cool Ibiza vibes. Endless options. Totally depends on your cup of tea and what your vibe is. But don't forget to add music. Okay. Next section, wedding breakfast. Oh my goodness me, loads of people forget this. They focus on the food, they focus on the tablescapes, and they forget again about the atmosphere and the mood. This is the one area that if you're looking to save on music, I wouldn't have live musicians. By all means, if you want to and you've got the budget to have live music everywhere, absolutely do it, because live music is just another level. But you do not have to, and if you are looking to cut back, this is the area I would cut back on live music and just have a Spotify playlist. Choosing something nice and chilled in the background. You don't want it overpowering. You just want it in the background, creating that vibe whilst you're all eating your dinner and the conversation is rolling. So I would go for either a jazz or an acoustic playlist that's just literally playing in the background and keeping the mood and the vibe going. The next point in the day is usually where my clients and couples in general don't tend to forget. So obviously, once you've gone from the wedding breakfast, you're going to move into the first dance. Now, you might not want to have a first dance, or perhaps you do want to have a first dance. It's really lovely when couples pick something specific to them as a couple for their first dance track. And something else that you might want to consider is actually the song that's played after the first dance. So obviously that's a really important track and something that you will remember forever, that piece of music that you chose for your first dance. But what are you going to choose next? If you are going with the tradition where perhaps the bride dances with her father, you may want to choose a specific song for that dance, and then everybody joins the dance floor. So consider those first 2 tracks, the first one for you and your partner, and the second one for the bride and her father, if you want to do that tradition. Then it goes into the evening music. Now obviously at this point you want to have your evening music, so that is usually going to be a band or a DJ. You can do both. You could start with a live band. If you've got a nice late license, you will have a longer time in the evening and you could actually go from a band to a DJ. There are so many different options. You can have dancers involved as well if you want to. You can have wandering musicians. Literally so many options, and most people don't forget to have music at that point in the evening. There are some people that don't want music at that point in the evening because it's not for them and they don't like dancing, and perhaps they're going to have board games or something completely different, and that is absolutely fine. But for those of you where music is key, I know that you're not going to forget this part of the day. But the other points in the day are really important to note, because I hear it all too often that they haven't been considered, or it's a real last minute panic. Usually the wedding breakfast is the area where people completely forget to think about music. So I know that you're not going to forget because you've watched this video. So you are already 10 steps ahead. So there you go, guys, the 10 different places to add music on your wedding day. I hope you found this helpful. I would love to hear about the different choices of music that you're going to choose for your wedding day. So do let me know in the comments box below what you're going for. And again, I hope you found this video helpful. I will see you next week for some more wedding planning goodness. See you later, guys.